Welcome to Rugby Tonight, the best bits. We've got another great show lined up for you as we're joined in the studio by Springboks and Bath flanker Francois Louw and New Zealand and Wasps pack Charles Piutau. And we have the usual insight and analysis from Ben Kay, Ugo Monye and the rest of the team.
Should we park Bath for a minute and talk about the Rugby World Cup? Because you went on a bit of a ride during those, what was it, 5, 6 weeks, the few speed bumps, well, one major speed bump actually, that being Japan. So now that you've had time to reflect, do you look at it as a disappointment, or do you actually look at it as a bit of an achievement after, you know, how it all began, if that makes any sense? How do you look at it now?
Obviously, going into the World Cup, we had high hopes. You know, we weren't there just to compete. We wanted to win the thing. You know, and we really believed we could. Hell of a start, really. Obviously, going down to Japan. You know, but credit to them. You know, they came out firing. They played a hell of a game, and you know, beat us in the end. But I think what was important from that, you know, really had an opportunity to either, you know, regroup, move forward, or bow out of the tournament. And you know, the way that the guys pulled together, responded to that, the way we pushed through the pool, one-up pool, and you know, semi-finals, 2 points in it, really tight. You know, I wouldn't say we're happy with that, but there's always the disappointment. It's that one that kind of got away.
Can I talk about the Japan game just for a moment, and how lonely did that feel to be a Springbok at the time? Because essentially the world celebrated one of the biggest upsets ever. For their first game in the pool, Japan, you could not watch a World Cup game in Japan. After the Springbok win, 25,000 people watched their next match. 25,000 in my house.
Wow!
Yeah, amazing. Maybe it was 30,000. 25 million! But the reaction was incredible, and the world just kind of joined in on Japan's side. How did it feel to be part of the Springbok camp during that time?
Yeah, look, obviously it wasn't great for us. You know, big disappointment, especially in South African rugby history. But you know, from an outside perspective, globally, for the bigger picture, the brand of rugby, I mean, awesome for a so-called second-tier nation to front up at a World Cup and you know, knock the Springboks over. Fantastic for them, fantastic for rugby, and you know, hopefully that really ignites a little spark in Japan. That's going to be the World Cup
for you guys, because you obviously did a lot better than England and got right through. But was that moment where you sat down as a team and addressed it, or was it just that we can put that behind us? Because certainly 2007, after South Africa, it gave England their biggest ever beating. The players sort of, the pressure came off a little bit, and the players got together and said, well, let's just simplify things, go back to a very easy game plan. Was there that sort of meeting with you guys?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a crisis meeting the next week, but there was definitely a big sit down. You know, really had to regather. I mean, we worked very hard in the pre-season. We were well prepared, we were well conditioned. You know, everything was perfect going into the World Cup, and to have a setback like that, to be knocked down like that, you know, calls for big reaction from the side, a big response. So it was more about that, you know, just perhaps going back to our basics, making sure that we're clinical in all the simple areas of the game, and then when the time comes, you know, having the trust in the players that they'll recognise opportunities and play to their best and play to their flair.
And let's talk about that forearm, because apparently you thought you'd hurt yourself by being kicked on or whatever at the bottom of the ruck. Did you not realise that Richie had caught you as he kind of went past you? Because
yeah, look, I got the cut from another incident actually.
Okay.
A few moments before that. You know, I saw the incident at the time. I didn't realise what happened. You know, came off the field and realised there was a big fuss about it. But you know, that's really what rugby's about. You know, we're all gentlemen off the field, or at least try to be, and on the field we go each other's necks and try and take each other's heads off. So, you know, obviously a fantastic player. You know, he's part out of you know, his career now. You know, one of the greats. It's been awesome to play against him, and you know, obviously from our side, wish him well, whatever he chooses to do next.
That's not. I thought that was an original McCaw then on your head. That's not. No.
No, it's not. It's not an original McCaw.
Okay.
Yeah, a different incident.
Well, it was only a few weeks ago that the late, great Jonah Lomu was in this very studio. He was so much fun. He entertained us all, told us some great stories. It's hard to believe that the great man is no longer with us. Jonah Lomu, you'll be sadly missed by all of us. It's just, I mean, you were with him that night, and he was in such good form.
And I just think we were just all marvelling with his humility and his grace, and just, I don't know, it just seems bizarre, because it was a whole different vibe in the studio that night. You know, everybody was just, I don't know, in awe of the great man. It was just phenomenal, and it's hard to believe, isn't it?
It is, but we're gonna keep him with us in the Ruck and Mall, so he'll be able to keep an eye on us, make sure we're doing everything right. So we'll stick that up there.
And there was a memorial, of course,
There
today
was,
in New
and
Zealand.
some of the greats of the game were at the memorial today. I mean, everyone loved this man. That's what's so lovely to hear, you know. University liked, my word. Look, Tana Umaga, Dougie Howlett, they're all doing the haka. I mean, they're incredible scenes, Ben and Ugo, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I look at Jonah, he's one of my idols. I grew up wanting to be similar to him. He was the world's first global superstar, incredible on and off the pitch. Just listening to Eric Rush, you know, his eulogy today, and it speaks volumes for how great the man is when you see the likes of Buck Shelford and 9,000 people turn up at Eden Park just to celebrate the life, you know. What an incredible guy, and like you said, sadly missed.
I think the other thing is that, you know, everyone will talk about this year being so special for New Zealand rugby with achieving back-to-back World Cups, but they've lost two great All Blacks, and it shows when all these guys come together how strong that unity is behind that black shirt.
How did that come about? So you have a year free, you want to play your rugby. How did Wasps match up with you?
I guess just knowing that I was on the market, they came forward, and there was a few other clubs, but you know, I'm thankful for the opportunity that Wasps has given me, and you know, happy to be at the club now and playing some rugby with the guys.
Had you not made that decision, though, to sign for Ulster, you could be sitting here now with a World Cup medal around your neck. Any regrets?
No, not one. I think there's a lot of what-ifs, and that was one decision, or I guess possibility that I knew that I had to take in making this decision. And you know, another 4 years, if maybe there's another chance.
Give me your view on Wasps at the moment, because they are playing so well. Things seem to be coming together really well. There's a great attitude there, great mood in the club. What's it like?
It's awesome. You know, just being a new person into the club, it's the guys, the coaches are real welcoming. There's a great team culture there. You know, a lot of the guys are a good mix together, and there's a lot of talent, and I think a lot of depth in the club. And so, you know, credit to the guys. There's been some good rugby being played, and to the coaches that are, I guess, supporting us and coaching us.
And a lot of youngsters, I guess, and a lot of English youngsters with points to prove. And that makes a massive difference to a team, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it brings the edge with guys week in, week out, coming trainings or games, you know, really wanting to prove a point or to put a performance out there that, you know, they can hopefully play in higher honours.
What are Francois' thoughts on the South African coaching situation? Is Meyer staying or is Coatsy coming in? You might struggle to answer all of that, but what are your thoughts on the coaching situation?
Yeah, as far as I understand, you know, the CEOs and the presidents of the unions are having a meeting on the 11th of December to discuss what's going to happen going forward. You know, it usually happens in 4-year blocks leading up to each World Cup. You know, it's pretty tough in South Africa. If you don't come back with the World Cup, it's not good enough. So he's obviously under immense pressure. Meyer could see as, you know, rumours that he's a possibility. So from my
but
side,
you'd be happy with both. They're both great blokes.
Yeah, well, having played under Heineke and been playing under Alistair at the Stormers for 5 years, you know, I know them both pretty well. They're both great coaches, and I think they can both do a good job.
Good answer, very diplomatically answered. Let's have a look at the next one. Okay, this is from Chris Stocks. How many Wasp players could or should be playing for England come the Six Nations? Maybe we should ask both of you that.
Probably the whole team if they could. But I think, you know, there's some players that are on the verge of playing on that team, and I think you know, Elliot Daly is one of them. Christian Wade, Joe Simpson, and halfback there. A guy called Nathan Hughes playing number 8, playing awesome rugby, and so, you know, there's definitely, you know, those guys that I think that could play in high
Let's change the question slightly. How much of a change of personnel playing-wise do you think England need to get back to where they want to be, and how much do you think it's just about readdressing issues with the squad they've already got?
Well, I think ultimately England and any nation, for that matter of fact, has an opportunity to start over. You know, start the new 4-year tenure going up to the World Cup. Ultimately, you know, you need to select on merit, but you've also got the opportunity to build a squad to play younger players and push them through and you know, really get them into the shape and into the style of play that you believe as a coach is going to, you know, win you the World Cup ultimately. It's an interesting time, obviously. As Charles was saying, you know, the couple of Wasp guys are really putting their hand up this season for England selection.
Francois, do we get too caught up in the 6-7 argument, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's always that debate. You know, it doesn't really matter what numbers on your back at the end of the day. It's the type of game you play that makes a difference, and obviously the combination of players that you have. I think sometimes players might get boxed into perhaps trying to play a certain way when that style doesn't really suit them. You just got to find your feet and trust that, you know, your style of play works for you, and fight to get into that role within the side. You know, for me, I've played all around the scrum. You know, lately, obviously, finding myself more at 7, or most of the time, really, and that's kind of a position I've really, you know, tried to make my own and mould myself to that. But it just kind of happens. You know, you can't sort of say, well, you know, I'm going to play to the ball, or I'm going to be the big ball carrier. It just happens, and then, you know, you got to have the trust that you know, your players around you and the coaches will see that and play you within that position.
That's all for this week. Thanks for watching Rugby Tonight, the best bits, and don't forget to hit subscribe. See you next time.